Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're getting into a really fascinating, maybe even universal puzzle, the financial pursuit paradox.
That's right. We've pulled together some amazing sources spanning literally thousands of years. You've got ancient wisdom texts, but also modern economic takes, even case studies of the super wealthy today.
And our mission really is to try and figure out why. Why does chasing financial success so often seem to lead to, well, dissatisfaction?
Exactly. We're exploring that core idea that life isn't just about how much stuff you have. And the best way to do that, we're looking at maybe the ultimate historical experiment on this.
Conducted by King Solomon. I mean, if anyone could find happiness through wealth and power and, let's not forget, wisdom, it should have been him.
Absolutely. His findings are crucial because the conditions were, you could almost say, perfect, like a lab experiment.
Perfect how? What made his situation so unique for this kind of test?
Well, the sources emphasize it wasn't just that he was rich. He had advantages no one else has ever really had. First, supernatural wisdom, given directly, the texts say, meaning theoretically, no bad business decisions.
Okay, so perfect judgment. What else?
Unlimited resources, just staggering wealth. 666 talents of gold coming in annually, plus complete political power, no real enemies or competitors to worry about. He had total freedom.
So the ideal setup to see if accumulating everything truly satisfies the human spirit.
Precisely. But wait, if the goal is satisfaction, why keep accumulating? He already had everything. Why more buildings, more people, more gold? Doesn't that just create more stress?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Or maybe the 666 talent question. The texts really push us there.
It seems he wasn't just after security. He was systematically testing accumulation as a path to fulfillment. The sources detail it. He built massively. Houses, vineyards, huge parks, water systems to keep it all going.
Okay, so infrastructure and luxury living. Checked. What about other kinds of accumulation?
He went for everything. Human capital slaves, enormous herds of livestock, financial reserves, gold, silver, treasures from other kings.
And pure pleasure.
Oh yes, singers, musicians, a massive harem, what he himself apparently called the delights of a man's heart. He explicitly says he held back nothing. Whatever his eyes wanted, he took.
Right. A decades-long experiment, no hold barred, and the conclusion, after all that.
Devastating, really. He looks at everything he built, everything he owned, and just says, basically, everything was meaningless, a chasing after the wind. Nothing was gained under the sun.
Meaningless, that word feels so central. It's translated from the Hebrew hebel, I believe. Can you unpack that? Because meaningless almost sounds too simple.
It really is key.
Hebel.
It literally means vapor, or breath, or mist. Think about morning fog, right? It looks solid, substantial, like you could reach out and grab a handful.
But you can't. Your hand goes right through.
Exactly, it just dissolves. That's the image. The promise of wealth security, happiness, meaning it looks so real from afar, but when you try to grasp it, poof, it vanishes.
And that connects right back to the paradox. The very act of pursuing it prevents you from getting the satisfaction it seems to promise.
Solomon nailed this. There's another Hebrew phrase sometimes used, lo yisba. It doesn't just mean the person isn't satisfied yet. It means the thing itself, money, possessions, is actually incapable of satisfying, like trying to drink mist. It can't quench your thirst.
It's an unquenchable pursuit by its very nature.
An endless hunger. Chasing vapor guarantees you'll never feel full.
Okay, so let's bring this ancient insight, this hebel, into our world, because we see echoes of this constantly, right? Especially with, say, the tech billionaires.
Oh, absolutely. The irony is stark. They have achieved what looks like ultimate financial freedom, yet look at their lives.
Like Elon Musk, worth billions, but...
Reports working 120-hour weeks, immense stress, needing medication or alcohol just to manage, just to sleep. Where's the peace the wealth was supposed to buy? It hasn't delivered rest.
Or Jeff Bezos. All that wealth didn't exactly seem to guarantee personal happiness or stability in his relationships, did it?
Right. It buys rockets, sure. But not necessarily relational peace. The pursuit gives you control over capital, maybe, but not necessarily over inner contentment.
And it's not just the mega-rich. We see it with startup founders, too. There's that example of Alex Chen. Sold his first company, made $50 million before 30. That should be, I've made it territory.
You'd think so. The exit, right. That's supposed to be the finish line. Freedom.
But he said it was the beginning of his problems. How?
Because his purpose, his identity, was tied up in the hustle. When the hustle stopped, there was this void. And it immediately got filled with pressure to do it again, only bigger. He didn't get off the treadmill, he just upgraded to a faster one.
Wow. And this anxiety, it trickles down, doesn't it? It's not just founders and billionaires. Look at Maria Rodriguez in the case studies. Built a solid portfolio, $400 K by her mid-30s. That's secure.
Objectively, yes.
Yes.
Very secure. But subjectively, she felt more anxious. Market dips triggered panic attacks. She was checking her accounts constantly, obsessively. It was disrupting her life.
Which sounds exactly like that line from Ecclesiastes you mentioned.
Ecclesiastes 5.12. It's uncanny. Sweet is the sleep of a laborer, but as for the rich, their abundance permits them no sleep. The very thing meant to bring peace ends up stealing it.
So this inner turmoil, this sleeplessness, it points towards the need for an antidote, right? If chasing riches is like chasing wind, what's the alternative the wisdom literature suggests?
The alternative is contentment, but it's not presented as some kind of, passive, fluffy feeling. It's described as something actively pursued, paired with godliness, and that combination is called real gain.
So it's an active stance, like pushing back against the cultural pressure.
Exactly. It's a hard-won position. And there are practical ways to think about guarding yourself against this Hebel chase. Agur's prayer in Proverbs is a great example.
Ah, right. Proverbs 30. He asked for just enough, basically.
Pretty much. It's incredibly pragmatic. He asks God to keep him from two extremes. First, having too much wealth, because that might lead to arrogance, to forgetting what's truly important, maybe even forgetting God.
And the other extreme.
Having too little. Poverty that leads to desperation, where you might feel forced to steal or compromise your integrity just to survive.
So it's about finding that middle ground, not demonizing wealth itself, but
Recognizing the danger and the love of it. That's a key distinction in these texts. It's the pursuit, the devotion, the love of money that's called the root of all sorts of evil, leading people to temptation, grief, and ruin. Life isn't about possessions.
and this devotion, this love of money, it doesn't usually manifest as some big dramatic downfall, does it? It's more insidious.
Well, often a slow fade, a subtle reorientation of your soul, your priorities. The case studies break down how this happens. Let's look at the first couple, attention theft and moral narrowing.
Okay, attention theft, how does that work?
It starts with where your time and energy go. The hustle, the deals, checking stocks, the 80-hour winks. It just starts crowding everything else out. Your spiritual practices, quiet reflection, even time with family or mentors, it all gets pushed to the edges.
Because the work becomes the main thing defining you.
Right. Your identity gets wrapped up in your productivity, your bottom line, not who you are as a person.
And that pressure, that focus on the bottom line leads to the second one, moral narrowing.
Almost inevitably. It's rarely major fraud, at first anyway. It's the small stuff. Maybe slightly exaggerating a claim to close a deal, padding an expense report just a little, telling a white lie about a deadline.
Things that feel necessary in the moment to keep things moving, to protect the profit.
Exactly. But each tiny compromise makes the next one easier. It slowly erodes your internal moral compass. Your integrity gets traded, bit by bit, for financial gain or security.
Then there's the impact on relationships. Relationship corrosion.
Yeah, this one hits hard. Time and actual presence, just being there mentally and emotionally, that's the real currency of love, isn't it? But the pursuit trades that currency for financial profit.
Missed dinners, being physically present but mentally absent, checking emails during family time.
Precisely. Your spouse, your kids, your friends, they start to feel like they come second to the quarterly earnings report or the next big project, the connection phrase.
And all this culminates in that inner anxiety we talked about with Maria, even when you have the money.
Right. It often disguises itself as prudence, as being responsible. But the constant checking of accounts first thing in the morning, the obsessive planning, the fear tied to market fluctuations.
It's like your peace of mind is directly wired to your portfolio balance.
Which is a fragile way to live. It essentially becomes a form of worshiping security, worshiping the numbers, and ironically, that worship often creates more insecurity, not less.
And this internal pressure cooker is constantly being fueled by outside forces, right? Especially the comparison engine. Social media seems tailor-made for chasing hedel today.
Oh, it's the perfect storm. You're bombarded with these curated images of success, luxury, happiness. It breeds instant dissatisfaction with your own life.
Like Sarah Williams in the study, racking up $45,000 in debt.
Trying to buy the feeling of the life she saw online. Luxury trips, designer stuff. Chasing the image. And the crazy part is, often, the influencers showing off this stuff. They're leasing the cars, renting the mansions for photo shoots, borrowing the clothes.
They're literally selling vapor, selling Hebel.
Exactly, selling mist to people desperate to feel like they've grasped something solid.
And this ties directly into that psychological concept, the hedonic treadmill.
Right. Our brains are wired to adapt. That raise, that new car, that bigger house, it feels great for a bit. But then it just becomes the new normal.
And you need something more just to feel the same level of satisfaction.
You have to keep accelerating just to stay in the same place, emotionally speaking. Which again, Solomon observed thousands of years ago. Ecclesiastes 1.8. The eye never has enough of seeing, nor the ear its fill of hearing. Our appetite for novelty is infinite.
Which means finite things like money and possessions can never ultimately satisfy that infinite appetite.
They're fundamentally mismatched to the craving.
Which leads us to the security trap. You mentioned David Park. Saved up 18 months of expenses, maxing out retirement. Objectively super secure.
By any financial metric, yes. Bulletproof, you might say.
But he feels constantly insecure.
Totally. Spends his weekends glued to financial news, researching investments, terrified of losing it. The very security he achieved now consumes the time and peace it was supposed to provide.
The pursuit ate the reward.
Perfectly put. The management of the security becomes the new burden.
Okay, so if the chase is wind, the treadmill is exhausting, and security can be a trap, we need practical steps. What can people actually do to cultivate contentment and resist the pull of Hebel?
The wisdom points towards shifting focus, away from accumulation, towards gratitude and intention. First step, practice gratitude. Sounds simple, maybe cliche, but consciously listing, say, 3 specific things you're thankful for each day actually retrains your brain.
Shifts focus from what you lack to what you have.
Exactly. It fights the comparison engine directly. Then apply intention to your finances, budgeting with intention.
Meaning more than just tracking expenses.
Yes. Prioritize needs first, obviously, but then consciously allocate money for giving, then saving, then discretionary spending. Giving near the top actively breaks that scarcity mindset, that feeling you have to hoard.
Okay, gratitude, intentional budgeting. What else?
We need absolute boundaries. Boundaries to protect your time and your soul from the demands of the pursuit. This could be a real Sabbath 1 day a week, truly offline, refusing to engage with work or commerce.
Or smaller boundaries.
Definitely. Like no work emails or texts during dinner. No checking your portfolio before you've had some quiet time in the morning. These are non-negotiable walls protecting your relationships and your inner peace.
Protecting what the money is supposedly for in the first place.
Precisely. And connected to that is planned generosity. Don't just give when you feel like it. Automate it. Decide on a percentage or amount and have it go out automatically.
Takes the emotional wrestling out of it. Breaks the hoarding instinct.
It helps break that psychological grip where your sense of security is tied to the number in your account. And finally, maybe the simplest but hardest, the pause.
The pause.
Before you make a significant purchase, just stop. Breathe. Ask yourself honestly, do I truly need this? Or am I trying to fill some kind of emotional hole, some Hebel-shaped void?
That requires real self-awareness.
It does. But it's crucial for breaking the cycle of consumption driven by dissatisfaction.
So bringing it all together, this deep dive really hammers home Solomon's conclusion, doesn't it? Chasing riches truly is like chasing the wind. Wealth inevitably changes what you worship.
And his ultimate experiment, done under the best possible conditions, proved its futility for delivering true satisfaction. But there's maybe a deeper layer here, a final thought from the sources about why it's futile.
Go on.
It touches on the theological foundation for all this. Ecclesiastes also says that God has set eternity in the human heart.
Eternity in the human heart.
Meaning we're wired for something more than the temporal, the finite. We have infinite longings. So, of course, finite things, money, possessions, achievements, no matter how grand, can never ultimately fill an infinite eternal space within us.
So the Hebel, the vaporous nature of wealth, it's not a bug, it's a feature.
You could say that. The inherent dissatisfaction, the futility of finding ultimate meaning in accumulation, it's maybe designed to point us beyond the material, to redirect us from chasing mist towards things that can satisfy those deeper eternal longings, things like love, connection, purpose, spiritual growth, things money simply cannot buy.